I want you to think about the last time you stayed in something, a relationship, a situation, a dynamic that you already knew was not good for you. Not because you loved it, not because it made you happy, but because leaving felt more terrifying than staying. Now imagine that feeling multiplied by years of being told that you are running out of options, that your age is working against you, that if you leave this relationship you might never find another one. That is what we are talking about today. The fear of being alone forever, and how that specific fear pushes women into staying in relationships that are genuinely unhealthy, sometimes for years longer than they should. Let's be clear about what unhealthy relationship actually means, because sometimes people hear that phrase and think it only refers to extreme situations. It does not. An unhealthy relationship can look very normal from the outside. It can look like a couple that still goes out for dinner together and posts photos on social media. It can look like two people living under the same roof who are polite to each other. But underneath that surface, there is something broken, a lack of respect, a lack of genuine care, an imbalance where one person is constantly giving and the other is constantly taking, or where one person walks on eggshells to keep the peace while the other does not have to think about it at all. Now here is the important question. Why do women stay in those situations? And not just any women, specifically women who have grown up absorbing the message that their value is tied to whether or not they are in a relationship. For these women, leaving is not just emotionally difficult. It carries a specific, crushing weight that goes beyond the relationship itself. Because leaving means being single again. And being single, in a culture like South Korea's, can feel like wearing a mark of failure that everyone around you can see. When a woman has internalized, meaning fully absorbed deep into her thinking, the idea that she is approaching or has already passed her marriageable age, the prospect of leaving a relationship and starting over becomes genuinely terrifying in a way that is hard to explain to someone who has not felt it. She is not just leaving one man. In her mind, she might be leaving her last chance. That thought, however untrue it actually is, can be powerful enough to keep her stuck for years. She will rationalize the bad behavior. She will tell herself things could get better. She will focus on the good moments and minimize the bad ones. She will ask her friends, "Is this normal?" hoping someone will confirm that she is not wrong to stay. And here is something really important to understand. The longer a woman stays in a relationship out of fear rather than genuine love and choice, the more her sense of self erodes. Because you cannot stay somewhere you know is not right for you, without it costing you something. Every day you spend convincing yourself to accept less than you deserve, you are quietly telling yourself that less is what you are worth. That becomes a story you start to believe. And once you believe it, it becomes even harder to leave, because now you are not just afraid of being alone. You are also not sure you deserve anything better. There is a cruel cycle at the center of this. Fear of being alone keeps a woman in a bad relationship. Staying in a bad relationship lowers her self-worth. Lower self-worth makes her feel even less likely to find something better. Feeling less likely to find something better makes her even more afraid to leave. Around and around it goes. The relationship does not have to be physically dangerous for this cycle to do serious damage. Emotional erosion is real, and it is slow, and by the time some women recognize what has happened to them, years have passed. Now, let's talk about the men in these situations. Because not every man whose partner stays out of fear is consciously manipulating her. Some genuinely do not realize the dynamic at play. But there are also men who figure out, whether consciously or not, that their partner is staying because she is afraid, not because the relationship is good. And once a man knows that, whether he articulates it clearly or just senses it, the balance of power in the relationship shifts entirely in his favor. He knows she will not leave, so he stops putting in effort. He stops treating her with the same care he showed at the beginning. He becomes complacent at best, or controlling at worst, because he has learned that there are no real consequences for his behavior. This is one of the reasons why it matters so much that women feel genuinely free to leave relationships that are not working, not just legally or physically free, but emotionally and socially free. When the social cost of leaving is extremely high, it functions like a trap. Not one with a lock on the outside, but one built from shame and judgment and the fear of what other people will say. That kind of trap is remarkably effective. The question I want to leave you with is this. If there were no social judgment, no cultural pressure, no family comments, no fear of what people would say, would you still be in the situation you are in right now? If the honest answer is no, that tells you something important. It tells you that the thing keeping you there is not love. It is fear of a story other people will tell about you. And that is not a reason to stay anywhere. Leaving is not easy. Starting over in your 30s or 40s is not easy. But building a life on your own terms, even if it looks different from what you were told it should look like, is something entirely possible. There are women who have done exactly that. And they are not sad cautionary tales. Many of them are genuinely, quietly, deeply happy in ways that surprised even them. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for Japanese and Korean language learning content, fun ESL class stories, sometimes even the toxic ones, plus videos about pets, plants, and anything interesting I discover in my daily life.